Hi, this is Matt Law from Flamingo Logic. This is a video about the Ability ERP value proposition. So really what the value proposition is for the product that we created, Ability ERP. But also I think it would help with any really software evaluation process, particularly the return on investment section at the end. Right, so what are we going to go through? A bit about me, what is Ability ERP and its features, why it matters that it's open source, how it can be delivered, why choose us, and what's the return on investment. So a bit about me. I am based here in Adelaide, South Australia. I was Chief Financial Officer for a large disability sector organisation which employed over 1,000 staff, and I was there for just over 6 years. I've also got experience in the buying in retail and financial services sector. One real focus for us is really Industry 4.0 and achieving that in the care sector. And that places for us, Industry 4.0 is all about a focus on data, fully digitizing every part of your organization, every touch point into a single source of truth, accessed in real time in the way the user would like to access it. And in order to achieve that, we have a big focus on customizable solutions. So what is Ability ERP? What are its key features? So it is a care sector specific enterprise resource planning application. And more specific than that, it can really cover the disability sector and NDIS. So it could definitely cover the care sector more broadly, but there's everything in there to cover the NDIS sector in Australia. So it's built on a open source Idempia platform. So Idempia was established in 2011, is a more generic ERP application, but it's based on a very solid product that's used globally. What is enterprise resource planning? So it's basically a type of business management software that will integrate and automate all of the various functions in an organization. So accounting, procurement, project management, risk management, compliance, customer management. Really, it just aims to be one of the more dominant applications in your, if not the dominant application within your organization. And therefore give you a more holistic view of all of the resources and all of the relationships between the resources and all of the transactions associated with those resources. So Ability ERP has a lot of advanced features that would cover off on those main areas. So if we take stakeholder customer management as an example, you have got right through from inquiries to validating a service opportunity. So that's when you're more specifically looking at the service to be provided, to onboarding, upload plans and assessments, the support plan, progress notes, goals, tracking of activities and completion of goals. And then you get into the instant management side of it. Really powerful to have instant management alongside or in managing the same system and data set as your other areas, because instance occur to a person in a location. So being able to reference the client or customer, reference the employees involved, reference the locations it occurred, saves a lot of time and gives you incredibly powerful reporting. And that is that's both NDIS specific and instant management system, but can be more broadly used for instant management as well. Employee management, so supervisor or management hierarchies, the workflows associated with that, delegations of authority, training qualifications, rosters, timesheets, and then task management. So it's really powerful to have what's called requests, which covers task management. So that's a request for action or approval. When you can reference all other data sets in the system, you get really powerful reporting on task management, and also you can direct it to the user based on their role when they log in. Operational elements, stuff like products and pricing and vehicle management, service location management, so collecting all the information on your locations, particularly useful for supported independent living, so entry requirements. You can when you mix that in with accounting, you can raise requisitions for tradespeople to go out to a location, for example, and see the location it's referencing. You can have vehicles referencing a location. You can have bushfire management plans against a location. The products and pricing side of it, to give you an idea how powerful that can be, particularly for the care sector, you can look at direct labor costs, set up products for that, have time of day application products, and allocate direct costs based on the service you provide direct to the customer, and have a profit and loss direct for your client and customer, and even by service agreement as well. So we covered a bit around robust scheduling and resource planning, and full accounting, so accounts receivable, accounts payable, general ledger, journals, the financial reporting. Yeah, so full integrated accounting suite. In-system custom form development, so you can digitize your own unique forms in the system with their own data table, their own windows, and really start and reference the other areas of the system and really start to fully digitize your organization. So why it matters that it's open source? Well, this allows for really unlimited potential to the extent that you can customize this to meet your unique needs, to meet industry needs, because you have direct access to the code. The integration potential that you have here is just an exceptional level of open integration. Really could not be any better. And because it covers so many areas of your organization and you can customize it, it means you can really create this as a single source of truth for other applications going through it, and the data being collected here. What that means is also you can put dashboarding, business intelligence tools directly over that, and report in real time on the entirety of your organizational information. So really it can fit seamlessly into your existing technology stack. Long-term access, you'll never have to worry about losing access to this application, or you're not tied to a proprietary platform in any way. So with proprietary software, they can get taken over by another company, and therefore you can lose it. Whereas you cannot lose access to this. You'll always have complete access to the code and the configuration, which means you can invest in it knowing you've got it for access to it for the long haul. And that really leads to lower lifetime costs as well. The Linux Foundation found clients typically save between 20 and 55% on lifetime costs, because we're in the care sector and where there could be a lot of users and therefore a lot of license fees. We find it could be even more than that. But yes, there are no license fees, and you can share in the benefit of improvements that are done in the broader open source community. So that all helps to lower lifetime costs. Security, because anyone can view and modify the open source code. So this is not your data, this is the code. There's more opportunity for errors to be spotted that otherwise might be missed, and therefore more. Some say that it's more secure because they're more likely to be picked up and fixed. Hyper innovation, yes, so because there's a broad community working on improving and sharing innovations on this on the broader application, there really are no limits on the experimentation and improvements that may come your way. So how it can be delivered and supported. Well, it is completely variable to you in terms of how it can be delivered. So we'll set up a more specific responsibility matrix with you as the client, but we will typically host it on Amazon Web Services with a single instance set up of the application and your own Postgres database. So your own single instance database. So what does that result in? Well, it's more scalable for a start, so we can increase or decrease the size of the system as your organization grows and changes. You're not paying for a system you're not going to use. So the security as well, it's really, because it's a single instance setup, it's not as likely to be known for the purposes of a cyber attack if you compare it to, say, a very large multi-tenant SaaS application where it's a massive database with lots of customer different customers' information in it, that's just more likely to be a target. We can also tailor the security measures to the specific requirements of each tenant, and obviously the risk of any cross-tenant data breaches are minimized. So some would say it's also just easier to monitor and control access to sensitive data, because we're seeing what should only be your users accessing that system. And it gives us a bit more control over security updates, patches, other system maintenance tasks. So that's some of the advantages of a single tenant system from a security perspective. And a really a big one is the single source of truth. So this is your Postgres database. And because the system's highly customizable as well, you can start to integrate all of your organizational data into this, and this will make it easier for everyone in your organization to access the same information. So you're eliminating duplication of data, discrepancies, getting rid of data silos. You're probably going to find you don't need certain applications that you might be paying license fees for now, because you'll be able to consolidate into this. And all of those spreadsheets and so on that you're using for manual bits that those other applications didn't cover, so you had to create these outer system processes, you're going to have the potential to bring into this. So in the way we deliver it and just the features of the system itself, you can achieve a single source of truth for your organization. So you also will get access to your cloud-based tools. That will include stuff like analytics, and it's kind of future ready, because you'll see that if you've been watching that Chat GPT, the power of some of the artificial intelligence tools that are coming out, or just imagine if you've moved in this direction, you've started to build your single source of truth, and now you can look at connecting that artificial intelligence tool directly to your single source of truth and be able to provide responses to you based on access to that information. So we talked a bit about connecting to business intelligence and specialized reporting tools, but just an example of a specialized reporting tool you could connect to would be Jasper Reports. And that is incredibly powerful for particularly financial reporting. So you could then really start to build a customized month-end report to you as an organization, and significantly reduce the admin time at month end in terms of producing that board report. Access from anywhere, and on any device as well, so it will actually adjust based on the screen size. So this is really well accessible on mobile too. But yeah, you could access it from your workplace, from home. Which really means you can really just make the most of your system no matter where and your data no matter where you are. We'll also create test and development systems, so not just the production system, which really gives you a risk-free area to just go in and play with, and you can even have real data in, or like real data in there, and yeah, you can test features and so on, knowing there's no risk of breaking anything. We will typically then set up a maintenance agreement, so you could just completely focus on the use of the product and not all of the management of it. So the use of Ability ERP and not the management of it. So we will manage backups, obviously the hosting side of it, the system monitoring, performance management and monitoring, the security setup and management, patching, bug fixes, updates associated with bug fixes. And we will do that for the whole of the supporting technology stack that runs Ability ERP as well. So you can really just get the benefits of an open source application, but without having to manage and maintain it all yourself. So why choose Flamingo Logic for support? Well, firstly, we created Ability ERP. So we know a lot about all the configurations and customizations that went into creating this product for the care sector, and the NDIS specific customizations as well. So we've got a lot of experience in the disability sector and care sector. I was obviously CFO for a large disability care services organization for just over 6 years, but my business partner, Adam Sawtell, he was also in that organization for a long period of time, over 6 years as well, as head of IT. We also have an NDIS specialist that has worked directly in the disability sector. So we've got a lot of direct industry experience. We know the problems, we know what it's like with the compliance requirements and the scheduling side of it, or rostering side of it, and all of the problems, I guess, within the sector that have to be addressed and solved. We will prioritize support for our customers. So if you use our maintenance and managed service, we will prioritize support, particularly for any customizations that you require. So we are a development house, and we can manage your specific customer customizations for the application. We also provide change management support, particularly post go live. So when you've got a system that you really can customize to meet your unique needs, you need a framework, and we'll typically use an agile framework by which to manage those changes. So we'll really assist you with the setup of a ticketing and release process for that. But one of the side benefits that can come from that is you don't already have a in organization continuous improvement or change management process more holistically for the entirety of your organization. This can actually be leveraged to facilitate that. So you might well end up getting a large additional benefit there. We have a very robust implementation methodology, a proven implementation methodology. We'd be happy to refer you customers that have gone through that to speak to. We have a real focus on planning, good solid documentation, do with not for wherever possible, just so you gain all the learning benefit. Focus on that learning, change management, as we discussed, scenario testing and mock go lives. So when it comes to go live, you're not doing something for the first time. You will have, we will have done it in mock many times in the build up to that, so everyone can have confidence of a successful go live. We do have a learning management system that you will have access to, and our own ticketing system, so you can lodge tickets for us to respond to for any customizations you might like, and it provides a level of transparency as well, because you can see updates on those tickets and what our response times are. Now we're committed to continually improving the Ability ERP, and so we have our own roadmap as well for what we feel the priority should be for new features, and we are completely transparent around that. And one of the big focus of enhancements that we have at the moment is on rostering. We know how important rostering is. We know how difficult it can be with stuff like group supports, for example, and it really makes sense to have it in your broader enterprise resource plan and application, because of the ability to reference the clients directly, reference the employees directly, see all the attributes against the employees, see all the attributes against the clients, and location specific attributes as well. So that's definitely roster enhancements is a big focus for us. And we also continually monitor what's going on in the broader community, the broader IDEMPIA community, what's going on in the industry, the care sector industry, the NDIS, and other technological improvements as well. And we really like to take a good partnering approach and bring these to you. Obviously, getting the benefits of what's going on in the broader IDEMPIA open source community. That's part and parcel of that, leveraging the open source aspects. Then, as I said, we really want to be focused on being your industry-specific technology partner. So what's the return on investment? Well, this is just an indicative example. These are not real numbers in any way. But what I wanted to show here is, if you're doing a business case, this should give a structure that you could possibly use for your evaluation. And really could be used for any application. So we've got the cash flows here over 5 years, and we've got various components of the cost and of the benefit as well. So, for example, I've added in the initial setup and configuration costs. So this would normally be the actual spin up of the initial system itself. Then you've got the cost of the ongoing maintenance. So the hosting, security, performance, backup management, patching, bug monitoring, and so on. And then I've just got that scaling up over 5 years, just with some inflationary increases. But typically this is not, this is going to stay relatively steady as compared to what might happen with license fees if you're in a really fast growing organization, and this would more just be based around the what it takes to service your needs. Then the contribution to new features and product roadmaps. So if there's a product roadmap set up, this will enable you to just contribute towards that and then hold it to account in terms of, well, is that are we getting the improvements on that roadmap that we are expecting? So some of that could be specific to you as a client as well, but it's just to capture some of those customization costs, or ones that you might be able to share the costs of, or that might be more generic. Then we get into the implementation costs. So this, if you're just getting a license, if you're just being quoted a licensed product, this is one I'd be really wary of if there's no support at all around implementation, because it's not system implementation. It's not something to take completely lightly. You've got integrations, you've got data imports and transfers, and so it's testing, and it definitely is going to take a fair amount of project work. So you really would want to include a cost estimate for this. So here we've got it broken down into general implementation costs, so stuff like training, support, mock go lives, and audit. And then the two big ones is because this system can be customized to meet your needs. We've got a separate element there of the cost of client-specific customizations. So by comparison, if you were comparing to just an off-the-shelf software as a service application, I mean, you might have a zero in there because you just cannot customize it anyway. So the decision factor is more around just the license fees, and then what else you might need to do to compensate for the fact that you can't quite get it to meet your unique needs. But yeah, it's really, when looking at an application that can be customized, this is one of the biggest factors of, well, what needs of ours does it meet as it currently is, and then what customizations are worth doing for initial implementation. And it doesn't stop you questioning your existing processes as well. So it may be beneficial to you may see the system and how it works as is, and realize actually that it would be better to adapt to that as opposed to customize it to your current processes. But there will be definitely, in every organization, you need to differentiate yourself. You'll have multiple different, possibly different funding bodies that you need to accommodate, and therefore, really, client customizations are how you meet your unique needs and automate to the greatest extent possible. So we're obviously a firm believer in that there's a huge amount of value in that. Integrating the application with other applications, or really with other applications with this, make sure you cover that cost or understand that cost as part of your calculating your return on investment. And then we've got some of the benefits. So the change in automation impact is a really crucial one to understand. How many FTE basically would no longer be required as a result of this implementation. Getting some level of estimate on that, and always go on the underside of it, but you definitely there should be some impact there that you can quantify with a level of confidence. Then we've got the change in the integration impact. There's normally some work that might be going into manually moving information from one system to another that will no longer be required. So that's definitely one to factor in. And then lastly, reduction in compliance risks. So particularly in the care sector, compliance is massive. So this should, particularly with the validation tools that are applicable, with the bringing it all into one system, with the reduction in the data duplication, you are likely to reduce compliance risk, and being able to quantify that to an extent, I think, is important as part of the assessment. Then lastly, this increasing growth there. So this will depend on how you're really managing your customer management system now. But some organizations, you may not have an inquiry process or a service opportunity process where you're really rigorously managing that. and therefore you might well be able to, with some confidence, factor in a growth aspect as a projected growth increase as a result of the implementation of the Ability ERP or the application that you're looking at. And then reduction or elimination of other applications. So if you've got a large number of applications operating as data silos or with limited levels of linear integrations, and you're going to be able to eliminate them now and consolidate into this. But the big one obviously would be the accounting system. The other one, though, you might have a very expensive customer management system in place. So the elimination of those applications and no longer having to personally pay license fees can be a huge saving by comparison. From that, you'd be able to calculate what the net cash flows are. So by year, so year 0 just means that occurs right at the beginning of the year, as opposed to year 1, which is at the end of the year. So you can see the cash flow impact at the bottom there for each year, and then you should be able to calculate what your 5-year net cash flow is. Now, I haven't done any sort of discounting for inflation on here, but you can go that far. You could easily also create a year 6, maybe one column just for year 6 onwards, with a diminishing formula to take account of that as well, because particularly with Ability ERP, you can never lose access to it. You'll always be able to have it. So you could project in a longer time period. Also worth noting, a lot of this could be capitalized. Again, that long-term access really enables you to possibly capitalize it over longer than you might do previously, whereas previously you might only capitalize over the length of the contract. But yeah, particularly the implementation side of it, the customizations specific to you, that could all be capitalized and spread over its useful life. But even future customizations that you may choose to do, and I would format any customizations done beyond the initial implementation and go live. If they're large, you're probably going to do a business case for those in their own right. But technically, all of those could be capitalized as well, which will just help with obviously matching the cost of it to the income side of it, and just spreading that cost. So thank you very much for watching. You can contact us at contact@flamingologic.com.au. You can follow us on our website and also find us on social media as well, in particular LinkedIn, and follow us and see our updates. This has been Matt Law, one of the co-founders at Flamingo Logic, just introducing you to Ability ERP.